Hello. Welcome to today's transmission. Happy May. Hello May and happy May. Yes, I am here today and wanted to come in here, share some transmissions and some contemplation on quantum repatterning. Big words, I know, but we will break it down. So when you join in, say hello, let me know that you are here. Hello Akona, hello Faith, hello B, hello Sarah. Thank you all for joining me. I'm really excited. How are you? Say hello in the chat as we give our fellow warriors one more minute to join. Ooh, so good. Hello Fundaka. Yay. Okay. Hello Portia. Lady Portia. Yay, thank you, Tanzan. Yes. I am glad you appreciate my teachings, Sarah. Yes, these teachings are coming through me. I'm just a vessel for them, but they are for all of us. Yay. Okay. Hello, King. Wow. Okay, so first day of the month, we here on the southern hemisphere of our planet, of our blue planet, we are entering winter, or it already feels like we are in winter, right? So I am all covered up with warm clothing. And interestingly, today's transmission is going to speak a little bit about the weather and what the weather reflects, and also how we navigate and use the weather as part of our healing, right? Yes. Okay, shall we jump in? Let's jump in. Send me some love emoji to show you are ready. Whew. Okay. Yes. Thank you for the hearts. I just was waiting. Yes. Okay. So let's start with an energy report, right? Just typically every 2 weeks I get, or at least I decided to go into the quantum field to just ask questions about what's unfolding for us as a collective, right? This does not necessarily apply to every single human being, but especially those of you who are the genetic pathcutters, those who are here doing the healing, those who are sovereign warriors, ancient warriors, ground crew. Often these energy reports apply to you, right? So you may say this and then other people will not resonate, right? So what I'm bringing is particularly in alignment with the genetic pathcutter, which is you who I am commissioned to support in your healing journey, okay? So just that as a start, right? We had a pretty intense April. I think April was quite intense in terms of like the healing that was done. Particularly a lot of people were doing a lot of healing around the masculine wound, and that healing is still honestly continuing, right? All healings are continuing. The mother wound, the father wound are all continuing. What the guardians were sharing with me today, particularly I was connecting with the grandfather collective, right? And so there is definitely a big support that's also coming through from the masculine collective, from the grandfather collective, because of all this work that we've been doing, right? So for a start May itself is bringing in, a different frequency from April. And this frequency is actually a little mellow but deep. It's like, and particularly when you think about the weather now, it's when it starts getting cold, we do tend to go within, retrieve within, and also do deeper work, but in ways that's not as jarring as like when it's summer, where you're super conscious of what's happening. So right now, as we are beginning or entering in the Southern Hemisphere, as we are entering our winter, it's important for us to know that spirits, all the different spirits, whether these are the spirits from the heavens, these are our star families, these are our earth, ancestral family, the elemental families, particularly during this time, they are actually more supportive and tuned in to support the human kingdom, right? And kind of like looking out for us, right? Particularly the earth and elemental guardians that we all have, that every single person is connected to, right? If you are a genetic pathcutter, you may become more conscious of this connection. Like you may be like, I'm connected to the water element, or the air, or the fire, or the earth, right? So as we are entering this more colder season, our thoughts themselves are also going to be going more deeper and more mellow. Our emotions as well, which feels like we're going to do a lot of emotional water work, right? We are going to be working with processing in these deeper layers, right? And this will be very visible through the dream state, right? So this is the time to be attuned to your dreams. And you may already have seen that we are having more frequencies of dreams, but these frequencies of dreams are not necessarily easy for you to remember. All right, so the Grandfather Collective, that's saying that we are entering a period where we have to consciously choose to remember the work we're doing in the dream state, because there is profound healing there. And when we choose to remember, that awareness helps the mind to move and navigate whatever challenges you're going through, whatever experiences you're going to go through in your life. Does that make sense? So cultivating that awareness, cultivating that intention to remember is like super important right now. This is what the grandfather kept saying, like, you must remember what you're doing, because you're doing so much and there is so much support right now that you are missing it. And so you may go through emotions of overwhelm, exhaustion, feeling alone, like, oh my God, I've been doing this and nothing is changing. But that's because you're not really seeing with your divine eyes. And so we need to open more of our divine eyes. And that is not something that necessarily requires you to go activate your third eye, but it's more of choosing through words, invocations before you go to sleep, that I have the deep desire to remember what I'm doing, to understand what's happening, what's unfolding. Okay? So that's the first thing, like, we need to remember more. And then the second thing, returning back to the earth energies right now. This transmission has been unfolding for me for the last 2 years, and this transmission is connected to what we call the totems, right? So in African culture or in Asian culture, human beings or the human kingdom or our ancestors have always understood that we are connected to the animal kingdoms, to the elemental kingdoms, the divic kingdoms, right? The kingdoms that are just next to us, and those that are also visible to us, which is the other animal kingdoms, right? And also, we also recognize that when you reside in a particular land, the energy frequency of that land will influence the experiences that you have, right? This is how even like totems, tribal totems, were particularly connected to, for example, the animal that will be mostly seen or common in a particular land. And we understand that when we have that connection with a totem or a tribal animal, that animal represents not just like the medicine of our tribe, but it's also representing the consciousness of the tribe, and it's also connected to the blueprints and the gifts of the tribe as well. So for example, if your ancestors lived in a land where there were a lot of elephants, right, that elephant as a totem, it's not just about like that this tribe will be more motherly in nature, it will have that gift of wisdom and so on. It's also that the consciousness of the elephant will travel with the tribe. Even if the tribe was to move from that land, it will always travel with you. It will be the totem of your soul, the totem of your consciousness, right? So right now there's this deeper awakening of totems in Africa, in Southern Africa. The totems are reconnecting with us in deeper ways. Right now, as we are going into this more of like internal, because it's winter, it's time to reconnect with our totems, our medicine that is connected to the animals, to the medicine of the lands, to the medicines of our tribes, to the medicines of our ancestors, to attune ourselves to the teachings of the totems, right? Yes, as tribes, a tribe will be known, renowned for holding the totem of wisdom that may be connected with a particular animal, let's say the elephant, or the totem of leadership that's connected with the lion and so on, right? So as genetic path cutters, it doesn't matter whether you are on a cosmic initiation or journey. This, if you are here in Africa, this will always be very true and profound for your journey, for your healing. So connecting with these consciousnesses will help you awaken and heal more and more, right? So remembering the totems of your fathers and your mothers, and also doing deeper journeys with these totem animals to work on whatever you need to work on with, will be very, very powerful, particularly right now, because the totems are like kind of like waiting for us to connect with. Does that make sense? Let me know. So the totems have been just like coming through, and today the grandfathers, they're like, all these difficulties that you're going through, you have to recognize that you are in a time of, all of us, we are in a time of great change. And everything in the world right now is wide awake, observing humanity, supporting humanity. And it's easy to think you are the only one doing this. It's easy to feel alone and overwhelmed and not know where to begin. But if the more you tune in, the more you also realize that a lot of the kingdoms around us are in tune with us, probably more than we are in tune with our journey, but the animals are aware of what's happening more than humans are. You know, the elemental kingdoms are aware, supporting us and so on. So the more we can tune into this, the more we can do more healing. Does that make sense? We can feel more supported as well. So how do you connect with your totem? One, you may already know what that is, you know, just because in Africa, in tribes, if you come from like a tribal culture, you'd already know. If you don't know, this is through going within and journeying with the intention to connect with your totem, right? There are invocations, right, that can be used to connect with these totem animals, you know, which are like often the totems of our ancestors, of our tribes. I seek the guidance, the medicine of the totems of my people, of my ancestors. And in that deep meditation, you wait for the animal that comes through, the totem that comes through. And you go deeper in conversation to ask the totem what it brings, what medicine it brings, and how you can use this medicine in the particular experience you're going through, whether you're doing mother wound, father wound, money work, relationship work, whatever that is, purpose work, right? We must work with the greater intelligence within ourselves as well as within the greater cosmos, right? Within our world, because this intelligence, the intelligence of God, is everywhere, right? You are part of that intelligence, but it's important to know that the intelligence of God is so intertwined and so connected to each other that there is never a point where you could ever truly say, I am alone, and that be the truth. You are never alone. It's not possible that you could be, right? And so a lot of the wisdom, it's easy to want wisdom that comes from someone else, like maybe receiving from me, which it's okay, it's fine to receive from others, but there's nothing more profound than receiving from yourself. And so as we are going within, so a little bit about the weather. It's important to know that humanity creates the weather. Of course, there is weather manipulations, but generally, the weather that we see outside is a reflection of what we are collectively thinking and feeling, right? So when we see these big floods and hurricanes and whatever cataclysms we're going through, those are actually reflections of the thoughts and emotions that we are going through as a collective being reflected back to us, right? And then also the seasons themselves, they are mapping where our consciousness is at. So when we enter winter, there's a little bit of a map there that is saying that our thoughts, our emotions are entering a pace that is like much calmer. It's definitely a pace of like connected to the air, right? Very flatty high there in the soul and not remembering what you dreamt about, and also very earthy, right? So these are like very grounded energies that just allows the body to heal. Right? When we enter this period, this is an opportunity to heal because we are not consciously, actively aware as compared to summer, right? So this is a good opportunity to go deeper in the healing that you've been holding back, right? To be braver because there's like more support for this process to be less painful. Healing is painful. It definitely is, because it's about releasing everything that has been holding you, your DNA, back from truly thriving, truly experiencing life in the way that you were truly designed as the living God did for you to be, you know. And with that in mind as well is one, in the last couple of days, there's been a lot of energies coming through. And these energies, the way I understand them, is that there is a divine grace anchoring in our planet right now. And that divine grace is intervening. We're having these divine interventions where a lot of the things that we may have been healing for a while, they're going to start to heal, not necessarily because of the efforts you are taking. Of course, it will be based on the efforts you've been taking, but also that the mother is basically clearing our akasha. The more you open your heart, the more you receive God, the more you anchor God in your life, the more that divine grace will come and will help you heal, clear whatever pains you've been holding on to, right? Which is just very powerful, first of all, to experience divine grace, like clearing things that you've been trying to heal for a really long time. But it's challenging because it requires that you be open to faith, to trust, to open the heart even when the heart feels like, oh, I've been hurt for so long, I've trusted and it didn't happen, right? Really, these days, these years we are in, they are definitely the days of grace, the days of trust and leaping and opening the heart more and more and more. It's like the more it hurts, your default program will be like close your heart, but now it's actually the more it hurts, keep opening more and more and more to receive more and more and more of the divine grace, to receive more and more of the miraculous healing that you are seeking. All right. Yes, so that's the update that I wanted to come here and share. It's still obviously connected to what I do also want to contemplate on, which is quantum repatterning. What the heck that is and why this is important, particularly now, even with this report that I was just sharing right now about the Totem, about doing a lot of your dream work and opening the heart to receive the divine grace of the Mother, Holy Mother God, Holy Father God, but mostly it's the Mother energy, right? Yes. So quantum repatterning. What is quantum repatterning? So for a start, the reason why I'm sharing about quantum repatterning is because I've been doing a lot of these sessions one-on-one. Coincidentally, in my once-off sessions, where a lot of the people who are coming, they had done sessions with me before, so they were just returning. And so I was led to do quantum repatterning with them. And this has been really powerful and profound for the warriors who've been receiving these sessions. And it made me feel like it's time I also share and offer these sessions also as once-off, right? So officially now, if you go to my website, you will find that I have two options where you can come and have a once-off session with me. Like you come one time and you go, if you want to go, you know. But yes, so before I had the morphogenetic fieldwork, which was essentially about me helping you map your gifts, your template, but also your shadows, the things that you need to work on, and also doing quantum healing for you on the stuff that are ready to be healed and cleared off, right? All of this being done through Source God, through Christ, through your pure consciousness, your God self, your multidimensional I am template, right? Everything I do is through that, okay? And of course your support team, which often for me, it's often the ancestral energies, ancestral guides, luminous ones who come through to give support on why you may be stuck in a particular pattern, you know. So I've been doing these morphogenetic field works, and a lot of that morphogenetic field work is dependent on me transmitting for you, receiving this information and relaying it to you, which is great and helpful, of course. And yeah, I'll continue to do this. The second one is the quantum repatterning, which is now more about you. And this is for a person, I just want to preface that this is for a person who wants to go deeper in healing their own inner patterns. And I will take you through a process, a step-by-step process that will allow you to repair, to repattern an experience, a past experience that is affecting and influencing your experiences today. That could be a past experience from your childhood, or a past experience from your soul experiences beyond this lifetime, what people call past lives, or your ancestral history, right? Experiences that happened to your ancestors that are now repeating in your life today. And that no matter what you try to do, you find yourself stuck in this loop where things are just not moving. This is very visible around. It's easy to see that you're stuck in a loop, in a pattern, particularly within your relationships, within your money, your purpose work, and obviously around the body's sexuality, and so forth. Right, so the quantum repatterning is this essentially. One, you right now, as you're listening to me, you are the human that calls itself I, Joy Muhavi. I did this, he did this to me, right? So this aspect of you is the personality, is the programmed self, it's the lower human or the lower mind, right? It's important for us to know that we have these different versions of ourselves. So often the one we interact with in our daily life is this personality. I, Joy Mahami, this happened to me, right? And ascension, healing, is actually about shifting, dissolving this personality, healing, clearing this personality to step into the higher mind, the higher self, the avatar self, the God self, right? And that is done through healing all of these stories, these belief systems, these thoughts that you have as the personality, as the I, right? The more you heal them, the more your higher self descends more and more into your body, such that you start to see reality from your higher self, from your spirit self, from your divine self, which is ultimately what we are doing as genetic path cutters, right? We are wanting to be more and more of our spirit. And when you are your spirit, you are able to create and bring into your life and into the lives of your bloodline the logos, which are things like abundance and love, union, divine union, and higher purpose. All these things that we know we desire, they are actually often created by the higher self, right? Your pure consciousness, right? So if we understand that ultimately the part of us that is able to bring the miraculous or the magical is the pure source consciousness or the higher self, this means even in our healing, whatever healing you're doing, we must work with that consciousness, right? Does that make sense? I am having a cramp. Are you following me? Wendy? Yes. Yeah, so we have to work with that pure consciousness. And so one of the reasons why maybe we can find ourselves stuck in the traditional inner shadow work, right? And I know this very well because I come from a history of that as someone who has a training in psychology, where you find yourself going to your therapist, the way you are constantly talking and processing an experience, but the emotional charge about that experience is not shifting, it's not changing. You still feel upset about your father and your mother. You still are triggered, by particular things, right? The reason why that's the case is because the trauma has not moved at all in your nervous system, in the subtle bodies where the soul energy is held, where your life force is held. And so if this energy is not shifting, it means your life as well will feel like it's stuck, because I'm doing all this healing but nothing is changing. The reason why is because we are not actually changing anything. We're just processing, which is important, yes. But if we want transformation, we need to literally repattern the nervous system, repattern the subtle body, change the life force, allow the life force to rebuild itself and to expand back again wherever it was lost, right? And the way that we do that is not through the mind, it's through spirit, it's through the higher self. So in quantum repatterning, we work with that. We work with your pure consciousness, with Source God, with your luminous guardians of light, to help you repattern, rechange, release a pattern that has been there. And that can only be done through the solar logos, the solar energy, through God, essentially. And this is why traditional psychology has a little bit of that limitation, because it doesn't bring God into the space. It doesn't bring spirit into the space, right? And so for us indigenous people, we understand that everything here, because we are energy, has to also work with that pure energy, which is the God energy, which is your God consciousness, which is the consciousness of your luminous ancestors who are back with the God realms, right? So quantum repatterning is essentially that process of helping you, one, connect with the pain body, the part of you that went through the pain, whatever that pain is, whatever that trauma is, whether it's from your childhood or from last week or from your ancestry or from your soul energy. And when we are working with that part of yourself that's holding that story, and then we bring in the part of yourself that's beyond that story, that does not attach itself to the story, and then we start to work with all of these other spiritual energies, technologies, Christ light, we will start to see transformation. What's powerful about quantum repatterning is, this is definitely not something I learned myself. I was taught this. I was mentored to do this. It's a very advanced technology. Is how your emotional charge can literally drop in this one session, such that when you look back at that experience, you no longer feel the same anger trigger. You just like, it's gone. Why? Because in quantum repatterning, we are working with actually changing that energy, removing it from the timeline, from your memory, such that you no longer are able to connect with that memory in the same way you used to connect with it, right? Yes. So this mechanism, as you're calling it, quantum mechanics, Arcana, is essentially the mechanics of quantum healing. And quantum healing is really about working with this higher consciousness. The problem with the past ways we've been doing healing is that they worked a lot with the mind, just chant, I am healed, I am well, or just pray, please God help me, right? Which part is saying this? Often is the part of us that's desperate, that's heartbroken, that's not able to believe that it can heal. When we hear people sharing stories of miraculous healing, how many of us doubt that could happen to us, that that problem you've had your whole life could be healed? How many of us can say, I believe I could be healed. I believe in miraculous healing. I believe I could be bestowed with that divine grace and this problem is gone. Never ever have to do that. I know myself, I used to hear the stories of miraculous healing and I'm like, no, never gonna happen. It happens to some people, right? And I realize it's because it's my mind that has been programmed to not believe in miracles, to not believe in God, or to not trust in God, that struggles with believing in healing happening for me. Right? So the thing is, we don't have to take the years and years and years of healing the same thing and taking the different medicine, going to the different healers over and over and over again, because we must understand at this point, the technology, the mechanics you need to heal, to experience miraculous healing are through you. Yeshua, Jesus said it, the kingdom is within you. The kingdom of healing is within you. This entire physical vessel that you are, what it connects to is unbelievable if you're to truly see yourself, right? But most of us, we don't see ourselves. We don't really see how powerful and magical we are as beings, right? And it's okay to not see yourself, and it's okay to not try to force yourself to see yourself that way, but you can definitely try to connect with the part of you that already knows itself to be magical, which is your higher self, right? Which is why we can't heal without the higher self, the I am template, as we say in the mystery school, right? Does that make sense? So this month, I am very activated to come and do quantum repatterning for people. I usually, like I said, I do them for my private clients, but now I feel like I've noticed that just one session can be really, really powerful for you. So in some other ways, quantum repatterning is an advanced mechanic, advanced healing tool or process for inner child healing, for soul retrieval, for ancestral healing. It doesn't matter what the actual trauma is, but these three traumas that affect every human being, they can be healed with quantum repatterning. They can be healed when we work with the quantum field, right? They can help us go into states that allow forgiveness to happen that allow forgiveness of the self and forgiveness of whoever is part of the trauma experience you are wanting to heal. Right? So I will be doing this session this month. They are already open now. If you have been wanting support on how do I repattern, I'm stuck in this loop. I've just been here year in, year out, and nothing is shifting. The quantum repatterning is that model for that. Do you need to do it more than one time? Definitely, for sure. Why? Because a lot of our patterns are never about one thing. It's never because of one event. Okay? So, for example, if we talk about money, if you've been struggling with money, the pattern of that lack and scarcity within money, it may be connected to childhood experiences of seeing your mother, father struggling with money. It may also be connected to soul timelines where you were in that lack scarcity in the past. It may also be connected to your ancestors having existed in lack and scarcity most of their lives. You see why now we can't just heal one time. We have to go back to keep collapsing whatever the energy is, wherever it comes from, right? The more you heal, the more you repeat the healing, by the way, the more the change will ground, the more you also will be able to hold the miracle of healing that already actually probably happened on your first try. So this is the other thing. Most of the time, you actually healed everything on that first healing. Then the problem is that you don't believe it, so nothing changes, because your brain, your mind has to come along. It has to believe that you could be healed, right? So sometimes you need to repeat it and help your mind to know it's healed. I am healed. We are healed. It is done. Yes. But if you come for this once off, it's obviously a process that will allow you to repeat it for whatever the problem is. You can repeat the same meditation, the same journey that I will take you through to heal yourself on that pattern. Yes. So that's what quantum repatterning is the new way in which we're healing, is the advanced way for us genetic pathcutters who are ready to go deep. It's very powerful. 90 minutes to 2 hours, just depending on what comes up and what the trauma is that you want to heal. I highly advise that if you are booking this, try to come with something that you will like to heal. But even if you don't, it's okay. We can still figure that out. At least if you say, Joy, I've just been stuck in this relationship pattern. I just want to figure this out. That's something we can work with. Yes. Okay, so that's it, my loves. I wanted to come and update. This month also look out, because we are opening Warrior Mystery School for enrollment for this year. The Mystery School is my annual 1-year program that is for you, the genetic Pathcutter. And it's very in-depth. It's literally your dream mystery school. It's a mystery school. It's like cosmic and all the amazing juicy things that I teach in there. Right? So we are going to be opening for that. So if you want to join us this time around, check it out. My website is called joymohani.com. So my name.com, right? joymohani.com. And you go to the start here, and when you go down, you will see this option for the quantum repatterning. Okay? Thank you, my loves. Have a good day.